The clock on the bedside table glowed with mocking red numbers, 3:17 a.m. I was in that deep, dreamless part of sleep when a sound, faint but insistent, clawed its way into my consciousness. A rhythmic tapping. It wasn't the wind or the house settling. It was the sound of a small fist against the front door. My first thought was a groggy mixture of confusion and irritation. Who would be at our door at this hour? My wife, Sarah, stirred beside me, a soft murmur escaping her lips before she rolled over, pulling the duvet tighter around her shoulders. I slid out of bed, the cold hardwood floor shocking my feet awake. The tapping came again, a little more urgent this time. I padded down the hallway, the familiar shadows of our home feeling alien and menacing in the dead of night. Peering through the peephole, my heart seized. Standing on our porch, illuminated by the pale moonlight, was my 8-year-old son, Leo. He was supposed to be miles away, tucked into a sleeping bag at his best friend Sam Miller's house for his first ever sleepover. I fumbled with the deadbolt, my fingers suddenly clumsy. "Leo?" I whispered as I swung the door open. "What are you doing here, buddy? What's wrong?" He just stood there, his small frame trembling. He was wearing his favorite dinosaur pajamas, but they were horribly wrong. A dark, ugly stain spread across the chest and neck, glistening wetly under the porch light. More of it was smeared across his cheek and matted in his blonde hair. It was blood. My blood ran cold. 1,000 nightmare scenarios crashed through my mind. An accident? An attack? Had something happened at the Millers? I scooped him into my arms, his body feeling impossibly small and fragile. He didn't make a sound, just buried his face in my shoulder, his small body racked with silent sobs. "Sarah!" I yelled, my voice cracking with panic. "Sarah, wake up! It's Leo!" I carried him into the living room and flicked on a lamp, the sudden light making the scene even more horrific. The blood looked black in the dim light. I frantically checked him for injuries, my hands shaking so badly I could barely see straight. A cut? A broken bone? Where was all this blood coming from? Sarah appeared at the top of the stairs, rubbing her eyes. "Mark, what is it? What's all the yelling?" Her voice trailed off as she saw us. Her reaction wasn't what I expected. There was no gasp of horror, no rush of maternal panic. Instead, a strange, almost annoyed expression crossed her face, quickly masked by a practiced look of concern. "Oh my God, Leo," she said, her voice unnaturally calm. "What happened? Did you get a nosebleed?" I looked at her bewildered. "A nosebleed? Sarah, look at him. He's covered in it. He was supposed to be at the Millers. How did he even get here?" "Let me see," she said, walking over and gently tilting Leo's chin up. He flinched away from her touch. "Yep, it's just a nosebleed. He gets them sometimes when the air is dry."
He probably got scared in a new place, panicked, and decided to walk home. "It's okay, honey. Mommy's here." She was too calm. Her explanation was too neat, too quick. The Millers lived 3 miles away. An 8-year-old walking home in the middle of the night? It didn't make any sense. But my mind was still reeling, and her placid demeanor was a strange anchor in my storm of panic. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was overreacting. We got him cleaned up in the bathroom. The blood, thankfully, did seem to be coming from his nose, but as I gently wiped his face with a warm washcloth, I saw the look in his eyes. It wasn't the look of a kid who had a simple nosebleed. It was raw, undiluted terror. He wouldn't speak, wouldn't even look at me or his mother. He just stared at the wall, his lower lip trembling. Once he was clean and tucked into his own bed, I cornered Sarah in the kitchen. "We need to call the Millers," I said, my voice low but firm. "We need to apologize for him just leaving, find out what scared him." "No, don't," she said quickly, a little too quickly. "It's almost 4 a.m., Mark. We can't wake them up. I'll text Carol in the morning. I already told her he might get homesick." Something about her insistence set my teeth on edge. A deep primal instinct screamed that something was fundamentally wrong. But I was exhausted, and the immediate crisis seemed to be over. I let it go, a decision that would haunt me. The next day was a Saturday, and the house was thick with unspoken tension. Leo remained a ghost, moving silently from room to room, his tablet his only companion. He refused to talk about the night before, shaking his head violently whenever I brought it up. Sarah, on the other hand, was a whirlwind of forced cheerfulness, suggesting pancakes, a movie marathon, anything to fill the silence. It felt like she was building a wall of normalcy around the gaping hole of the previous night. My suspicion gnawed at me. I watched her as she texted, her phone angled away from me, a small secretive smile playing on her lips. I remembered other small things from the past few months, her frequent girls' nights out, the new expensive perfume she wore, the way she'd started locking her phone, something she'd never done in our 12 years together. Later that afternoon, while Sarah was in the shower, I went to put some laundry in her car. My hand brushed against a receipt crammed into the side pocket of the driver's door. I pulled it out. It was from a fancy Italian restaurant called Isabella's Table, dated for the previous night. The location was on the other side of town, a place we'd never been. The total was for 2 entrees and a bottle of wine. She had told me she was having a quick dinner with her sister before dropping Leo at the sleepover. My heart hammered against my ribs. It was just a receipt, but it felt like a key to a door I was terrified to open. The final piece of the puzzle clicked into place later that evening. My phone rang.
It was an unknown number, but I answered it anyway. "Hi, Mark, it's Carol Miller, Sam's mom," a cheerful voice said. My stomach plummeted. "Hey, I'm so sorry to bother you, but Sam was really disappointed Leo never made it to the sleepover last night. Is everything okay? Sarah never texted me back." Time stopped. The air in my lungs turned to ice. Every lie Sarah had told solidified into a monstrous, undeniable truth. He never went to the Millers. The sleepover was a lie. The whole night was a lie. I thanked Carol, my voice a hollow echo of itself, and hung up. I walked to Leo's room and found him sitting on his bed, staring into space. I sat down next to him, the mattress dipping under my weight. I didn't know what to say, how to even begin. "Leo," I started, my voice gentle. "Buddy, you know you can tell me anything, right? You're safe with me, always. And you will never ever be in trouble for telling me the truth." He looked at me, his blue eyes swimming with unshed tears. He hesitated, then a single, choked whisper escaped his lips. "Mommy said not to tell." "I know what she said, son, but I'm asking you. Please, I need to know what happened last night." The dam broke. The story came pouring out in a torrent of gasps and sobs. Sarah hadn't taken him to the Millers. She had driven to a strange house, a big house with a red door. She told him to be a good boy and wait in the car with his tablet while she went inside for a grown-up meeting. She said it would only be a little while. But a little while turned into a long while. It got dark. He got scared. He finished all the lies on his game. He needed to use the bathroom. Finally, he got out of the car and crept up to the house. He peered through a large living room window, and he saw her. He saw his mommy kissing a man who wasn't his daddy. They were laughing. His small world shattered in that instant. He didn't understand what he was seeing, but he knew it was a secret, a bad secret. He knocked on the door. He just wanted his mom. The door flew open, and the man, Mr. Dave, Leo called him, looked furious. Sarah's face went white. There was yelling. Sarah tried to grab Leo. The man tried to pull her back, and in the chaotic shuffle, Leo was pushed, stumbling backward and hitting his head and nose on the edge of a sharp wooden coffee table. The pain was sharp, and then the blood came, hot and fast. Sarah had scooped him up, thrown him in the car, and driven away, all while hissing at him that he was a bad boy, that he had ruined everything, and that he was never ever to tell his daddy what he saw. Listening to him, a cold, silent rage built inside me, so immense it felt like it would split me in two. It wasn't just the betrayal, it was the cruelty, the fact that she had used our son, our innocent child, as a prop in her sordid affair, that she had left him alone, scared, in a car in the dark, that she had prioritized her lover over her terrified, bleeding child. That she had threatened him into silence. I held him tight, rocking him back and forth as he cried himself to sleep in my arms. I laid him in his bed, tucking him in and kissing his forehead, promising him silently that I would never let anyone hurt him like that again. I waited for Sarah in the living room, the lights off. When she came home from her errands, humming a cheerful tune, the sound was like nails on a chalkboard. She flicked on the light and jumped when she saw me sitting there. "Mark, you scared me. Why are you sitting in the dark?" she asked, her voice laced with false brightness. I didn't move. I just looked at her. "Carol Miller called," I said, my voice flat and dead. She wanted to know why Leo never showed up for the sleepover. Every ounce of color drained from her face. I watched the mask of the perfect wife and mother disintegrate, revealing the selfish stranger beneath. She opened her mouth, a lie already forming on her lips, but I cut her off. "Don't.
Don't you dare lie to me again. I know everything, Sarah. I know about the restaurant. I know about the house with the red door. I know about Mr. Dave. And I know you left our son bleeding and terrified while you protected your affair. She crumpled. The excuses came, the pathetic justifications, the tearful pleas. It was a mistake. She was unhappy. I worked too much. It was meaningless. But all I could see was Leo's terrified face. All I could hear was his small voice whispering, "Mommy said not to tell." "You put him in danger," I said, the cold fury finally giving way to a wave of profound, soul-crushing sadness. "You chose another man over the safety of your own child. There's nothing you can say that will ever fix that. There is no coming back from this." That night, I packed a bag for myself and Leo. The marriage was over. The family I thought I had was a lie. As the sun rose on a new, terrifying day, I looked at my son, sleeping peacefully for the first time in 24 hours. The blood was gone, but the stain of his mother's betrayal would be much harder to wash away. I knew the road ahead would be difficult, but as I watched his small chest rise and fall, I knew one thing for certain. I would spend the rest of my life making sure he always felt safe, loved, and protected. It was just the two of us now, and that would have to be enough.